Gary Gensler versus Kim Kardashian? I can't believe this. This is not on my bingo card. What timeline are we living in, David? Bankless Nation, happy first week of October. David, what time is it?
Ryan, it's the Bankless Friday weekly roll-up where we cover the entire weekly news in crypto, which is always an ambitious endeavor, yet we persevere nonetheless into the frontier with coffee.
Yeah. Grab your coffee, hot tea, join us as we venture into crypto, tell you what happened in the week that was in crypto. This is the fastest way to get all of the crypto updates. Every week, David and I do this, comes out on Friday mornings, and we try to consolidate everything you need to know in about 90-ish minutes. Sometimes we get to 90-ish minutes, David. But what are we going to be covering this week? What's coming in at number one?
Coming in number one, Credit Suisse, the three arrows capital of TradFi, Lehman Brothers 2.0, or a bunch of fear-mongering. We will discuss. Ryan, what's coming up after that?
We also have Gary Gensler versus Kim Kardashian. I can't believe this. This is not on my bingo card. What timeline are we living in, David? And which one's actually doing the clout chasing? Because it's not quite clear. We'll talk about that. What else we got?
And then a smattering of a bunch of other pretty cool stuff. Coinbase Documentary. A documentary about Brian Armstrong and the rise of Coinbase, which I'm really excited for. That is coming out today at the time of listening. Followed by the Three Arrows Capital Starry Night NFT Fund Liquidation. So, get ready. Get your wallets ready if you're an NFT collector, because there's some good NFTs coming out. And then, sadly, Solana is down once again. Well, it's back up now, but it went down once again.
Just a tiny outage.
Little outage.
Yeah. No big deal at all. And of course, guys, if you enjoy this weekly roll-up, you can like it, subscribe, rate and review wherever you're listening, wherever you are watching on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications as these things come out. All right, David, before we dive in, got to tell them about our friends and sponsors at Galxe, making crypto fun again, going on some adventures, maybe by yourself, maybe with friends.
Into the frontier, yeah.
Into the frontier, that's what this is about. So what is Galxe doing, and how can folks go on adventures?
Galxe is producing task-based campaigns for us in the metaverse, in the frontier, on the Bankless journey. You can go to galxe.com, Galxe.com, and get a task for you to go and explore something, whether it's an optimism quest or something, I don't know, on ARBITRUM, or something where some project wants you to go do something, and you can go and do that thing. And then what do you get, Ryan? You get a little credential, a little badge, a little gym badge, Pokemon gym badge to put in your Web3 passport that Galxe gives to you to prove that you did it. So it's a little booklet, like a little metaverse passport to go and put all your credentials in of how you've explored a part of the crypto universe. There's a link in the show notes to go get your Web3 passport from Galxe.
I should say, like any gamified adventure, of course, some of these campaigns have rewards on the other side, have treasure as well. So this is a learn and earn opportunity for each of these campaigns. A great way to explore crypto during the bear market, during any market. And I do think in the future, David, these sorts of adventures are going to be the way tokens are issued. This is like the new airdrop.
Some surface area, yeah. There's a lot of surface area here.
The new airdrop is an adventure drop, I think. All right, let's get to markets. What is Bitcoin doing in the markets this week? We up, we down?
We're up a decent amount, 3.5%. Bitcoin started the week at below $20,000 at 19,400-ish, and we are above $20,000, at least at the time of recording, at $20,100. So eyeballs right above waterline.
Let's play that happy music. I'll take a 3.5% in these trying times. How about ETH price? Is that up too, please?
Yep, up a little bit, up a little smidge, a little bit over 1%. Very marginally over 1%. Start of the week at 1350. We are at 1365. So we went up $15.
Okay, $15.
Remember when $15 was actually nothing and now it's actually something?
Well, there was a time when the price of ETH was just $15. So aren't we blessed?
I don't remember that time.
Aren't we blessed?
I wasn't here for that.
These are ancient times. Few remember. Few were here. ETH Bitcoin, the ratio, what are we looking at on the week?
Bitcoin ratio down, I think like a percent, a little bit over a percent. We are down to 0.0678. So flattish.
Back in that crap season for the ETH Bitcoin ratio. How are we like historically? We're still up from the July 22 lows, I guess. I'm looking at this from a year-long basis. But
I mean, if you zoom all the way out, the ETH ratio has been fantastic.
Like the ETH ratio last bear market. I mean, look at this, David. ETH ratio 2019 into 2020.
Remember when it went down to 0.018? That was when I was like, Okay, I don't have to go back to school, right?
Honestly,
this is still irrational, right?
No. This time was basically like, oh, I'm going to start a newsletter because the ratio shouldn't be this low. And we were like, this is when we started the Bankless podcast in 2020. We were like, this is stupid.
We started it at the absolute bottom of the ETH
of the ratio.
Yeah.
It's because I felt at the time that DeFi and ETH were going completely underappreciated relative to Bitcoin, which is fantastic in and of itself. So yeah, look at the trajectory. Since the Bankless podcast was launched, David, it's been up only. There's got to be some causation. It's not correlation. All right. Global crypto market cap. We below a trill?
Just barely above. $1.0003 trillion is the total crypto market cap. There's some zeros in there.
Happy music. Well, let's talk about the Fed. Everything hinges upon the Fed these days. And we've been talking so much. I think all of crypto is talking about a pivot. So when is the Fed
when pivot?
Going
Used to be
start,
when merge, now when pivot.
When pivot. When is the Fed going to start ratcheting down, right? It's when our easy monetary policy, when's that coming back? I mean, does that feel like we're bad Austrians to say that? Like, please Fed, give us an easy monetary policy.
Can you please print some more money? I'd love some of that money printer.
That's not exactly like why we're saying it. It's just like inevitability, right? At some point, we're trying to like forecast what the market's going to do. And because macro markets right now have such an influence over the prices of everything, we're trying to anticipate when Jerome Powell is going to pivot. Because, David, it seems inevitable that he has to pivot at some point. I know he's trying to break the back of inflation. Has that already happened yet? Is that just a lagging indicator? Don't know, but we do know there's a lot of pressure on the Fed to start this pivot now. We'll go over a few of those pressure points right now. Number one, the stock market has had its worst year in more than a decade, and it keeps getting worse. This is a headline from time.com, I believe. And this is actually the worst start to any year in the stock market since 2002. Post 9/11 year, post .com crash year, the worst start to any year since 2002. And we are down in the S&P around like negative 25%, NASDAQ negative 32%. So US stocks are heading for this feels almost like a 2009 financial crisis in the stock market. That is one pressure point. Now, you might say, and I might agree with you actually, that Powell doesn't care about the stock market. I think to some extent that's true. I wonder how much that's true. So that is pressure point one, David. Pressure point two is there's some rattlings beginning around the world from other countries that aren't in a position to raise rates in quite the way that the Fed is. The first is the UN. So international body, and they are calling on the Fed and other central banks to halt interest rate increases. They're saying, I'm going to quote this, the Federal Reserve and other central banks risk pushing the global economy into recession, followed by prolonged stagnation if they keep raising interest rates. It's interesting. I didn't know the Fed advised or the UN advised on economic policy in this way, but some of these voices are surfacing as well. And further, we are starting to see other central banks begin their soft pivot. Now, the Fed hasn't, Powell hasn't, but Japan just spent $20 billion on intervention to support the yen. So the US dollar wrecking ball is destroying other fiat currencies, including the yen. It's losing ground relative to the dollar. And so Japan is actually printing money to intervene to support the yen. We also talked a little bit about the UK pension crisis last week, David. Well, Bank of England is working to bail that out as well. They are buying long-dated UK government bonds. That process started last week. So some of these other central banks are beginning to pivot. And I'm thinking this is putting more pressure on Powell for a pivot at some point soon. Now, we're still getting very hawkish messages, I think, from Powell and the Fed so far that they intend to continue raising rates, want to break the back of inflation, but you almost wonder if that lasts, like past maybe November midterms, like past maybe some of this increasing economic pressure from other central bankers. past maybe, did you get a chance to see this graph, David?
Yeah,
What are we looking at here?
Yeah, we're looking at the supply of oil reserves. And so people might have noticed, except in California, I've heard California gas prices are still super high, but gas prices overall are just down. Like I've seen like $3.50 gas in New York, maybe $4. Other people are talking like gasoline prices are down. Well, so is our supply of gasoline reserves. So it used to be at its peak in like 2010, 750 million barrels. It was at 650 million barrels up until 2020. And it has just dropped off a cliff going down to 350 million barrels. So it's halved. And it hasn't been like that since like 1982. So we have the lowest supply of oil reserves since 1982. And the tweet here, the political tweet, is saying that Biden is on track to practically empty our strategic oil reserves to make sure Democrats get elected in November, as in wanting to push down the price of oil to have political clout, say, hey, look what we did. Like gas prices aren't bad. But that's because we're just like draining our supplies. We're draining our reserves. You don't, that's not oil out of the ground. That is like oils we've saved up. That's our savings of oil. It has been halved in the last like 2 years. And so I think the story here with everything that you just said and also this, it's like we can see the sidewalk running out. Like there's not less and less like roadway here. We don't really know how much roadway is left. But I'm also reminded of that one famous internet GIF where like there's a car hurtling towards like a wall, and then as soon as it was about to crash, the camera cuts to a different angle, and the car's about to crash again. And then as soon as it gets close to the wall, the camera cuts again, and then the car's further away. So it's one of these things like
it repeats forever.
And it just repeats forever. And then one time it actually does crash. Yeah. But you don't actually know. Like so we're seeing the roadway run out, but we also don't know how much roadway is left. Right. So like we could be talking about this, I don't know, maybe for the rest of the year. It's like, oh, there's a pivot soon. One day it will actually happen. How much roadway we have left, TBD.
Yeah. 3 months, 6 months, a year. No one knows. I don't even think Powell and the Fed actually know what the breaking point might be. And when they will start that pivot. But
although if you do trend out this trajectory of oil reserves, it goes to zero in like guesstimate like napkin November, trajectory here, like soon, quickly.
December.
Yeah.
Something like this. By Christmas, we have no oil.
Yeah.
In the U.S. strategic reserves. I'm laughing about this, but this seems a little serious.
A little dark.
This doesn't seem like it's a good thing.
Well, this is why this world is so weird right now, is like the more bearish things get, like the more bullish it becomes. Because then we have to pivot and print more money. So it's just weird state of things.
I guess it's more bullish for commodities. It's more bullish for things that can't be inflated for non-fiat currencies, right? We're definitely living in this fiat world, a hollow world, per our podcast episode that we just recorded with Ben Hunt. That's coming at you guys in a couple of months. He has this phrase. A
couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. He has this phrase he likes to use, calling the world very hollow right now, and I think that's what we're seeing. But some words to look for if you are looking for signs of a pivot. The language of a pivot maybe comes at us from Matthew Pines. This is a tweet. It won't be QE, that is quantitative easing. They won't use those terms anymore. It will be restoring financial stability.
Right.
When we see the Fed pivot. It won't be YCC, that is yield curve control. It will be fixing market dysfunction. It won't be called a bailout. It will be extingent and unusual circumstances. It won't be indefinite debt monetization. It will be a targeted, limited intervention. This is the Fed doublespeak, I think. So look for these kind of words in the future when you want to tell if the Fed is beginning to pivot. Restoring financial stability, fixing market dysfunction, responding to unusual circumstances, and targeted, limited interventions. I think this is
or words like this, yeah.
Yes, this is central bankers speak. This is how they speak when they are intervening, and they have to use different words than last cycle because those ones don't work anymore. They're dead. No, they've gotten bad press.
The alpha's been squeezed out of those.
We have to invent new words, so watch for that. What's happening in crypto though? Layer 2 is having a moment.
Yeah, so this is the optimism. We've reported on this a number of times. Every other week or so, optimism makes new highs with transactions per month. And so, what was this last month? September? September was no exception, coming in at 5.1 million transactions in the month of September, which is a new high. And that another high was set last month. The high before that was June. The high before that was the month before that. The high before that was the month before that. So like optimism is in a transactional bull market. And I'm pretty sure ARBITRUM is the same. And so this is like, and my mental model for how, if we're going to play this bear market out, is that some things just crescendo for the entire bear market. And this is something we're seeing. It's like
it's kind of that slow build.
Slow build.
You know what this reminds me of is right before DeFi summer 2020, we had like many months of like more total locked value.
TVL and DeFi.
Increasing just bit by bit, by bit by bit. And we would look at it and you have to like bring your magnifying glass and like zoom up really close on the charts to actually see the TVL going up, but it was increasing
never
from
stopped
month to month.
going up.
And then explosion, boom.
As soon as we hit 1 billion, we hit 10 billion. And remember when we hit 1 billion?
Yeah.
Everyone in Ethereum crypto Twitter was talking about 1 billion locked in TV. Everyone wanted that first tweet. We hit 10 billion like 3 months later. And then it was the DeFi summer.
Yeah. Like DeFi's real. I mean, that kind of proved the use case. But an interesting comparison is compare optimism in Arbitrum to Avalanche. Which has previously been kind of a darling, and the lines are different here. What are we looking at?
Yeah, the lines are different. Yeah, Bankless analysis. For both Optimism and Arbitrum have passed Avalanche in daily transactions. Now, Optimism's passed Avalanche before, so has Arbitrum a few times, but this time is different. This time it's like meaningfully sustained, and Avalanche is now both below active use of both Optimism and Arbitrum since I think the whole month of September. Yeah, almost. And so this is different. And this is what we've always been saying is like these execution optimized monolithic layer ones like Avalanche or Solana are not competing with the Ethereum layer one. They're competing with Ethereum layer twos. And now Avalanche is behind two of Ethereum's two leading layer twos. So yeah, congratulations to the optimistic roll-up world.
I feel like that thesis has taken a long time to play out.
Yeah.
And now it is maybe starting to play out. Not the end of the story, so we haven't been proven correct yet. Did you know, by the way, David, still the number one EVM chain in terms of total user or total transactions is still Binance chain.
Yeah.
By like a large margin, 6 million or so, 4 to 6 million, I believe, like per month is what we're looking at here. What's interesting about this chart that we're looking at, it's definitely down. And so it's definitely decreased in this bear market relative to layer twos that are going up. And look, I mean, Ethereum is kind of steady state.
Well, Ethereum transactions are maxed out. Like we can't have any more transactions on the layer one anymore.
That's what's interesting is transactions aren't a perfect proxy for actual usage. So it's just like one measure among
the missing
value transfer is super important. How much you actually settling. All right, David, what do we got coming up next?
Shit. Is Credit Suisse, Ryan, going to trigger a 2008 financial crisis or not? Perhaps not. And also, is Gary Gensler the newest influencer on the block? Because he made a video that made it kind of seem like he wants to be one. So we're going to get into all these stories and so much more right after we talk to some of these fantastic sponsors that make the show possible. In all of my years in crypto, I have never been hacked, scammed, or lost money to a thief. And a lot of that credit goes to my Ledger hardware wallet. The Ledger Nano X and the Ledger Nano S Plus hardware wallets allow users like you and me to secure and manage all of our crypto assets and our NFTs, all with the security of storing users' private keys offline and out of reach from hackers. The Ledger Nano X is the perfect hardware wallet for managing your crypto and NFTs on the go because it connects to your phone with Bluetooth and has a nice big screen for easy transaction readings. Ledger has also upgraded the iconic Ledger Nano S and made the new Ledger Nano S device more DeFi and NFT friendly, making it the perfect hardware wallet for beginners. Ledger has truly maximized for both ease of use and security. So discover which Ledger device is best suited for your journey by going and visiting shop.ledger.com. Arbitrum 1 is pioneering the world of secure Ethereum scalability and is continuing to accelerate the Web3 landscape. Hundreds of projects have already deployed on Arbitrum 1, producing flourishing DeFi and NFT ecosystems. With the recent addition of Arbitrum Nova, gaming and social dApps like Reddit are also now calling Arbitrum home. Both Arbitrum 1 and Nova leverage the security and decentralization of Ethereum and provide a builder experience that's intuitive, familiar, and fully EVM compatible. On Arbitrum, both builders and users will experience faster transaction speeds with significantly lower gas fees. With Arbitrum's recent migration to Arbitrum Nitro, it's also now 10 times faster than before. Visit arbitrum.io, where you can join the community, dive into the developer docs, bridge your assets, and start building your first dApp. With Arbitrum, experience Web3 development the way it was meant to be: secure, fast, cheap, and friction-free.
There's some rumors that Credit Suisse is about to trigger another 2008 financial crisis, another bank collapsing. What do we make of this? Let's start with the story, David. Where do these rumors come from?
Yeah, the first part that the story ever manifested in the world is this guy, Dave Taylor News on Twitter, says, credible source tells me a major international investment bank is on the brink. As it turns out, he is talking about Credit Suisse. Also, this tweet has since been deleted, which is interesting. And this just got the world of finance, both in crypto and outside of crypto, just murmuring about Credit Suisse, like whispering about Credit Suisse. And then the Credit Suisse CEO says that the Credit Suisse is at a, quote, critical moment as bank prepares for latest overall, the Credit Suisse CEO says. And so this felt like it was corroborating what that tweet says, that Credit Suisse is at a, quote, pivotal moment, whatever that means. And now, as a result of that, Credit Suisse credit default swaps hit a 14-year high. Credit default swap is basically an assurance against the company defaulting. So if you have a credit default swap and Credit Suisse defaults, then you make money basically on that. This is the thing that happened in 2008 that caused so much contagion event. And so this tweet here from Grand Stefan says 600 billion, what Lehman Brothers held in assets when they crashed and took the entire economy with them. 2,800 billion, Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank control in AUM 4.6 times more. And he continues, Credit Suisse is at a critical moment now, says the CEO, what lies in store for the world. And he made a thread about this. Now, this is just me reporting on the actual events and what people are talking about. I don't think Ryan or I are anywhere close to being able to be accurate informants about exactly what's going on in the world of Credit Suisse.
And who exactly knows?
Knows?
Only Credit Suisse management, only a relatively few people who are in the internals of that beast actually know what's happening. But yeah, go on.
But I will defer to somebody who knows much more than me, who's very well researched, which is Kyla Scanlon, and she's put out a great video on this. So I've pulled out some tidbits to talk about here, where she has said, doing some analysis that is decently above board, she goes, the market is pricing in a 1.4% chance of Credit Suisse going bankrupt. And she did this with just a cross-referencing a bunch of numbers, which are a little bit confusing, but that's what she came out with. 1.4% chance is what the market is pricing in. That is pricing in a less likely chance of default than Ford, the motor company. Ford being an irrelevant anchor point, just to say hey, that's not very likely. And so she is of the opinion that this is not at all a Lehman moment, even though that Credit Suisse is not necessarily in the clear and not everything is good. It's not a Lehman Brothers moment is what she has taken away from. And so I generally trust Kyla. She knows way more than I do, pays attention to these things much more than I do. And that is her take. And that is better than I could ever produce here.
These are still just multiple takes on it, right? It's it seems like the market's still trying to figure out the truth here. I mean, the CDS spreads at 14-year highs. Looks like some sort of market reaction to some negativity. So we don't know. But what does seem true though is I feel like the market is looking for something like this. This is why tweets like this. The original tweet, what was it? Said something like, credible source tells me a major international investment bank is on the brink. That seems like it could be so true.
Right.
And because we felt
this. And if it bleeds, it leads.
Yes, and because we felt this in living memory, a rumor like this spreads around the internet in like nanoseconds.
Right.
And so pretty soon everyone's kind of chanting it, and then they can actually affect the market.
Right.
That's what's interesting about this. Here's another take, I guess, on the subject. Like something is probably foul in the traditional finance market, isn't it? And this is that moment where the tide is going out and you get to see who's wearing pants, who's wearing shorts, and who's not, which Warren Buffett says. And I think the entire world, the entire market is anticipating that we're going to find some people who aren't wearing any shorts, right? This is Dylan Leclerc saying, the 3 Arrows Capital of TradFi is out there somewhere praying for a bounce here to unload some of their illiquid garbage. I almost feel like crypto may have front run a lot of this. Like, I actually feel like crypto is healthier now than it's been in a long time, because we had our deleveraging moment in May and June when 3 Arrows Capital went bust. We had multiple crypto banks go completely bust. Like, we already faced the deleveraging event, and you sort of wonder if it's not Credit Suisse, maybe Credit Suisse is healthy, maybe Kyle is wrong. I don't think the market's wrong to have like be in high alert status and be watching for something like this because of excesses of the last decade or more, David.
Right. Crypto has only had like 18 months of bull market to be able to wind up its leverage.
Yes.
The traditional market has had like 12 years to embed leverage and debt deep into the financial system, and that is difficult to unwind. Yeah.
But we just don't know where it's going to pop. It almost seems too simple for, it's a bank again. Credit default swaps, like again, same thing. It almost seems it's probably going to happen in some unexpected area, but like, I guess we'll have to monitor and see what happens from here. What else we got going on? Gary Gensler is up to some things. And Kim Kardashian, how is she involved in crypto?
Yeah, the SEC is charging Kim Kardashian for unlawfully touting crypto security. So you might have remember Ethereum Max, Ryan. I can't remember where I saw her promoting this, but Ethereum Max is like, she was paid to pump this Ethereum Max thing.
What is it?
It's a grift, basically.
Was it like an Ethereum fork of some kind?
Yeah, it's a Ethereum fork. I don't know a single thing about it other than the fact that it was Ethereum Max. She was paid for it. No one in my Twitter circles or friends that ever used it at all. Pretty sure it's just a scam through and through. She was paid to promote it. She did promote it on her Twitter. It was extremely cringe. I remember when that was going out. And now she is being charged to settle these charges for a whopping $1.26 million. And I'm being facetious here. That's pennies for Kim Kardashian, and probably less than what she got paid for to promote the damn thing.
Well, no, actually, I remember reading this. She got paid like $250K or something to promote it, and she's getting fined.
She did that?
1.26. Yeah. So it's a bad business decision for her.
Wow.
If it's just raw business decisions.
Yeah, she must have just not understood what it means to promote a security. She probably did not think about that.
In good news, David, what this means is we could pay Kim Kardashian $250K to promote Bankless.
I don't think that works
if you're into
well.
it.
I don't think that works so well.
Wrong crowd, different crowd. Different cross section.
Yeah. So here's the press release and also an interesting quote from his side that Gary Gensler said. So here's a quote from Gary Gensler saying, this case is a reminder that when celebrities or influencers endorse investment opportunities, including crypto asset securities, it does not mean that those investment products are right for all investors. We encourage investors to consider an investment's potential risk and opportunity in light of their own financial goals. Yeah, some normal speak, but like, yes,
pretty
Kim,
normal.
you shouldn't have done this. Nice job,
definitely, she shouldn't have done this. Like, and then I guess Gary's coming to the rescue here.
That's only half the story.
Okay, yeah,
it's only half the story. The other half of the story starts with this tweet from Mike Dudas, who goes, LMAO, literally everyone hates Gary Gensler, including his own staff. It's amazing. And he is tweeting out a picture of Charles Gasparino, three tweets saying, SEC enforcement staffers, people that work for the SEC, are complaining that Gary Gensler violated protocol by hyping the Kim Kardashian settlement, appearing on CNBC within minutes of the case being announced. People with direct knowledge have told Fox Business this. The SEC employees are calling this a publicity stunt that has been designed to burnish his reputation to be named Treasury Secretary. They also say Gensler stealthily approached CNBC for his appearance and created a video on the settlement, an unusual move for chairs who usually allow staff to take credit for actions and pursue broader issues. It's the latest skirmish between Gensler and enforcement departments that continue to lose attorneys amid complaints about Gary's management style and workload as the SEC dives into non-traditional areas of enforcement, i.e. corporate ESG mandates. SEC has no immediate comment. So the take here is that Gary is doing like a speaking tour, patting himself on the back for going after Kim Kardashian. And this is why I highlighted that $1.26 million fine for Kim Kardashian, which is pennies. She's just going to pay it because she's like, go away. Like, buzz away, fly. Get out of my... And then he's going to be like, yeah, we got her. Look what we're doing.
We got the bad guys.
We got the bad guys. We were stopping crypto
up.
scams and not actually going after the real scams like Celsius, which was an actual security and actually like needed banking regulations, blah, 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 blah. So like leaving all the actual hard scams like free and clear and going after Kim Kardashian because everyone's like, oh, Gary Gensler is going after Kim Kardashian promoting a crypto security. Nice job, Gary. Nice job.
Yeah, it does seems like it's some kind of regulatory clout chasing here. It's like he's just he's trying to cash in. And what like a great name to do it, like Gensler versus Kardashian. Right. I brought down this kind of wealthy elite influencer who everyone hates in the name of retail investors. I'm here to protect you, like Captain Gary kind of thing. That's what it feels like a little bit. But it's not just this tweet. It's the video that was mentioned in this tweet.
Yes.
So this is the Gensler video pushed out on YouTube. High production value, like relatively for a regulatory agency. Like, hey, who's your editor, Gary? Because we need more editors at Bankless. And the title of this video is "Use Caution with Celebrity Endorsements of Investment Products." Should we play part of this video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sometimes celebrities endorse investment opportunities, like crypto tokens or special purpose acquisition companies. Celebrity endorsements, though, don't mean that an investment product is right for you, or even, frankly, that it's legitimate. Even if a celebrity endorsement is genuine, each investment has its own risk and opportunities and may not fit your investment needs.
Yeah, so David, that's a flavor of the video. It's office hours with Gary Gensler, and it's got this cheerful music that you probably just heard, and like Gary pops up and he tells you that celebrities can't give good investment advice and shouldn't. And if you're just a normie retail investor, you should be very careful and pay attention to celebrity endorsements around things. First of all, it's just incredibly basic advice. And but there's something about this video that just feels like almost like financial advisor, influencer kind of thing. I don't know. There's something that just doesn't feel genuine about it. We'll let Bankless listeners, get their own kind of take on this and insight into it. But how does it strike you? Is this really the explanation? Is Gary kind of like jockeying for some sort of influence, some sort of clout in order to get the next rung up in his career, that is Treasury Secretary, coming for Janet Yellen's job?
It's just something's just so off about this Mr. Burns type figure who's doing like a highly edited influencer type video. Like he is he's trying to be an influencer, except he's Gary Gensler. And he just does not look like an influencer. And so the whole thing is just it just makes me shiver, man. It's weird.
It's pretty cringe. This is a article in Fortune, the crypto side of Fortune, I guess. It says the SEC's Kardashian fine was a dumb publicity stunt. And then talks about it.
This is what happens when you're cringe on the internet, Gary.
You get called out. This is what happens. This is Maya. Imagine an alternative world where Gary Gensler had gone after Mashensky, this is the Celsius CEO, before the crash, or the real shilling as biz entities instead of shilling some Kardashian news that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. This is the end of the day. Whether you think that was cringe or you think that was just Gary being kind of Gary and that's who he is, and maybe he's trying to be helpful, give him the benefit of the doubt for a minute. Here's the problem: it just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like no one is really going to be helped by this Kim Kardashian suit. There are so many other scams. Like this is one thing that we've asked the help of regulators. Like crypto has scams, doesn't it, David? Like all sorts of scams.
Yeah,
we're about to talk about one, right?
Yeah.
And like there is work for the regulators to do to help clean this industry up. All right. Partner with the innovators, those that are providing transparency, give us safe harbors for those that are building truly innovative entrepreneurial products, and then go after the Mashenskis. Like, please help us with this. But like, don't just do the surfacey clout chasing type stuff that like, where is our Bitcoin ETF?
Right.
I mean, that would save retail literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions,
Unlock
of
billions of dollars of capital.
Right? Like, why don't we work on that together?
Right.
This is not helpful to us. How about clarity around the difference between like kind of a security and a token that's not a security?
Right.
I mean, that would unleash the potential of thousands of entrepreneurs. We're not doing these easy things. Instead, we're going for the glam, the cheap stuff, the surfacey, the whitewash stuff. It's stupid. It's just feels very like political game. It feels very Congress. It feels very, let's call the bankers in front of our bank committee hearing and yell at them for 2 hours without actually doing anything. I'm just tired of seeing this.
Can you click on his profile picture there on his Twitter account? Like the guy very clearly really cares about his public image.
Yes.
Like he is a public image SEC chairman.
Yes.
Not doing his job. He's made so many videos. He has, that wasn't the only video he's made. If you go back to his YouTube channel, he's made a bunch of videos. What is short selling? What are crypto trading platforms with Gary Gensler? Rule 10.5B1 insider trading plans. 1.7 thousand views. Ooh, that kind of sucks. Yeah, you should work on that, Gary. What is short selling? 1.9 thousand views 1 month ago. Ooh, bad ROI on these videos, Gary. What you doing, bro? Can you go back to your job? Your job.
I think one thing that he could do is definitely hire someone to do these things, right? Hire somebody with some kind of charisma, some ability to like maybe partner with some other influencers. Like that would be more effective. It's just very weird to take center stage in this way, but. I don't know. Let's go on. Let's talk about the crypto grifters, because
things that he's left on the table.
Yes, there are some things left on the table, and certainly crypto has its share of grifters that could be gone after.
So Celsius top 3 execs, apparently they cashed out $42 million before they filed for bankruptcy out of their own platform. So ex-CEO Alex Mashinsky, who we were just talking about, ex-CSO, Chief Security Officer, is that what that is? Daniel Leon, and CTO Nuke Goldstein. Wow, that's an unfortunate name.
Nuke Goldstein?
Yeah. Wow.
Wait, their CTO's name is Nuke Goldstein? How did I just find out about this?
Yeah, wow, that's pretty crazy.
This is a real article, right?
This is a real article, yes. This is not a rug article.
I got screwed over by Nuke Goldstein?
Yeah.
He's got my ETH?
The top 3 execs of Celsius pulled Bitcoin, Ether, USDC, and the Cell token, the Celsius token, from the custody accounts of Celsius in May, before the company suspended all customer withdrawals.
Oh, so they got their money out first.
They got their money out before the assets were frozen. And so Mashinsky withdrew about $10 million, Leon withdrew about $7 million, and the other person withdrew about $6 million.
Do you remember that Mashinsky
Ryan,
tweet?
that's your money, Ryan. That's your money that they pulled
Goldstein?
out. Nuke Goldstein has your Ether, yeah.
Well, if I had to get screwed, I guess I was going to get screwed by a guy named Nuke. That just makes sense. Do you remember at the time all this was going on, the rumors were flying, Mashinsky came out on Twitter and he said, "Stop with the FUD. There's nothing to worry about." I forget the exact phraseology of the tweet, but that was post. He tweeted this after he had just taken all of his money out of Celsius. Right. It's unbelievable, man. Unbelievable, the level of grifter. You are calling it out though, David. Mm-hmm. What's you're trying to compete with Gary Gensler on the influencer
I think
game.
I'm a better influencer than Gary Gensler.
We'll see.
Although I would like to first be labeled as an educator who happens to influence, not an influencer. I know I'm getting into this YouTube world where I do these YouTube optimized stuff. We'll talk about that. But I would just like to plant that flag. I'm an educator first and influencer second.
It just sounds like something Gary Gensler would say, David.
Wow. Ouch, I felt that one. Anyways, there is a brand new Bankless YouTube account out there. This is the big news number 4 of the week. It's the biggest news in crypto of the week, of course. It's brand new Bankless YouTube account. The current Bankless YouTube account, you might have noticed if you're watching this on YouTube, is now called Bankless Shows. There's a new Bankless YouTube account called Bankless, where more YouTube optimized videos are going to go. And so I released the first video that I made, and it's titled, "Why is Crypto Full of Scams?" And it gives my model, my mental model for how I understand the crypto industry to be what it is, which is core devs at the center, crypto believers around them, crypto grifters around the crypto believers that separate the crypto believers from the outside world. And this is people like Alex Mashinsky, Daniel Sesta, Do Kwon, the people that got really loud. Interestingly, all 3 people Bankless got in a fight with. And Alex Mashinsky is featured in this video. And so definitely go subscribe to this new channel because we are going to be putting just newbie optimized short form content, things that you would find on YouTube. Thank you everyone on the comments who told me that I needed to iron my shirt. Noted. I will do that next time.
That's funny. And these are brief videos, right? So this is not like a 90-minute roll up. Okay. No. This is like 10 to 15 minute quick explainers for you guys. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, make sure you go to this new Bankless channel. We'll include a link in the show notes. It's different than Bankless Shows, and this turn notifications on for this. All right, David, we got a lot more to cover. What are we talking about next?
Coming up next, we got some MakerDAO stuff. MakerDAO is investing $500 million into different kinds of bonds, but also the Winklevoss and Gemini want to also strike a deal with MakerDAO. So MakerDAO making some moves. And then after that, Fidelity, a multi-trillion-dollar asset management company, has built a pipe straight into Ether with an Ethereum index. We're going to talk about that. There's also so many more things to talk about. The ENS markets are blazing hot that they always have been. There's a documentary about Coinbase coming out. Solana's down again. And crypto, really awesome, heartwarming story about crypto adoption in Africa, Ryan, which I did not expect, but yet some really good news out of Africa, which is not something we hear about frequently. So all of that and more right after we talk to some of these fantastic sponsors that make this show possible. The Brave Wallet is your secure multi-chain on-ramp into Web3, and it's built directly into the Brave privacy browser. Gone are the days of managing multiple wallet extensions that put you at risk of phishing, spoofs, and tracking. With the Brave Wallet, you can securely manage your crypto assets across more than 100 different chains, including Ethereum, Layer 2s, Solana, and more, all without downloading risky extensions. The Brave Wallet is easy to set up and removes the headache of jumping between wallets and extensions. It's lightweight, but packed with great features, like built-in token swaps, buying and holding NFTs with a gallery view, and support for hardware wallets. But also much more than that, because Brave is shipping new features every single month, with a mission to make Web3 easier to navigate for its over 55 million users. Wallet extensions are a thing of the past, so get started with Brave's Web3-ready browser today and experience a decentralized web seamlessly without all the clutter. You can download the browser at brave.com/bankless and click the wallet icon to get started. The Layer 2 era is upon us. Ethereum's Layer 2 ecosystem is growing every day, and we need Layer 2 bridges to be fast and efficient in order to live a Layer 2 life. Across is the fastest, cheapest, and most secure cross-chain bridge. With Across, you don't have to worry about high fees or long wait times. Assets are bridged and available for use almost instantaneously. Across's bridges are powered by UMA's optimistic oracle to securely transfer tokens between Layer 2s and Ethereum. Across is critical ecosystem infrastructure, and Across V2 has just launched. Their new version focuses on higher capital efficiency, Layer 2 to Layer 2 transfers, and a brand new chain with Polygon, all while prioritizing high security and low fees. You can be a part of Across's story by joining their Discord and using Across for all of your Layer 2 transferring needs. So go to across.to to quickly and securely bridge your assets between Ethereum, Optimism, Polygon, Arbitrum, or Boba networks.
Maker, the stablecoin issuer, is investing $500 million in U.S. treasuries and also corporate bonds. David, this is a big move.
That's a lot of money. Big time.
Yeah. What's going on here?
So MakerDAO, of course, is allocating $500 million for investing in U.S. treasuries and corporate bonds. And this is coming from its over-collateralized stablecoin supply. 80% of this is going to short-term treasuries, 20% going to investment-grade corporate bonds. And this was a proposal was presented last June and accepted. So that is what's going on in the world of MakerDAO. That's a big move. $500 million is not small.
What else? You mentioned the Winklevoss before the break. What are they doing?
So this is the second time that an exchange has gone over to MakerDAO to make them an offer. And I think this is coming off of that offer that Coinbase made MakerDAO not too long ago. So Maker is entertaining an offer from Gemini the crypto exchange from the Winklevi twins, of course, and they are offering to pay Maker 1.25% annual issuance rates on deposits of GUSD, the Gemini USD stablecoin from the Winklevi, from Gemini. And in return, Maker must hold more than 100 million of GUSD in its peg stability module, known as the PSM, which is this thing that like helps DAI stay at $1. So GUSD has definitely been like underrepresented, definitely not like a leading stablecoin, but this looks like a strategic partnership between Gemini and MakerDAO to boost liquidity of GUSD and acceptance inside of DeFi.
It's just a proposal, right? So they haven't accepted this yet. What's really interesting is like banks negotiating with DAOs.
Yeah, that's
I think
cool.
it's like and DAOs negotiating with banks. Like this whole treasury story that you're getting into. This bank called Syngem is the one executing it, and it's working with BlackRock Switzerland to allocate part of the $500 million or $250 million of the $500 million. And I'm just kind of like, well, what is Maker itself? It's such an interesting entity. It's not just a protocol. It is a protocol, but they've built kind of this like DAO, soft tissue layer of human governance around it for risk management that can actually interact with real world.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's almost like a crypto native bank, question mark. It's something like that. And it's a very interesting entity. And I mean, working with BlackRock, working with Gemini, negotiating with the Winklevoss twins. This is a decentralized autonomous organization doing that. And it kind of blows my mind sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty sci-fi. Anyways, moving on, Fidelity has revealed its Ethereum index fund straight between Fidelity clients and Ether. And so with $50,000 minimums, sadly, it has generated about $5 million in sales already, and this thing's brand new. So $5 million in sales between Fidelity Investments and its clients and Ether. So there's now a nice big fat pipeline between Fidelity and Ether, which is what we like if we want boomers to buy our bags.
Well, this is Fidelity. Look, Fidelity did this in 2020 with Bitcoin, and now they've become friendly with Ether, which is great. And like, we have to, like, I guess Fidelity has to put these sorts of trusts together in the absence of having a freaking ETF, which we all need. Come on. We need an ETF for both Bitcoin and Ether, but we don't have it. But, Fidelity is absolutely massive, David. Like, are all corporate, a whole bunch of US corporate 401ks, for example, all managed by, Fidelity. And if you're just like slaving away in the office in a corporate job and you want to buy some crypto in your 401k, it's really like in Fidelity, it's really hard to do that. So providing on-ramps to that is a good thing. And hopefully this turns into something that's a bit more retail friendly, consumer friendly, or at least has Fidelity continue to apply the pressure to regulators. Because I think they take the phone calls of banks, David.
Yes,
they're not taking my phone call. They're not taking your phone call. Maybe they're not even taking Brian Armstrong's phone call, but I think they're listening to the Fidelities of the world. And so Fidelity calls and is like, hey, we have demand for products. And maybe they'll pick up the phone and listen to them. In ENS news, we got another all-time high. ENS is all-time high. I believe, is this sales in September, David, and renewals?
No, this is domain registrations.
Registrations.
New ENS names have been registered, as also with ENS renewals. And so names that were already registered also got renewed. So
Big.
Just like how Optimism and Arbitrum are having their like slow crescendos of transaction volume, ENS is having its maybe faster crescendo of registrations. So the ENS bull market continues.
Bullish ENS. I still haven't sold my airdrop, David. I'm just holding. I like that protocol. Look at this. These are the highest all-time sales of .eth names. And what's cool about this website is, of course, all of this is like publicly available data. You don't have to scrape any databases. It's just like all on chain. So you can come up with these sorts of dashboards. But coming in at number one, the biggest .eth sale ever. You ready for it?
Hit me.
Paradigm.eth.
That's a large number of digits. That's $1 million, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 digits. Wow. Yeah.
$2 million for this. 420 ETH.
ABC.eth was only spent $250,000. Wow. Yeah. So I'm assuming that's Paradigm, the investment company.
Yes. So
venture fund.
That comes in at number one. PJFI.eth.
I don't know why that's worth so much.
Almost $500 million. 000.eth. I could see that.
$500,000, not $500 million.
Excuse me. Sorry. $500,000. ABC.eth. What else we got? Deepak.eth went for 75 ETH. Porno.eth, of course.
104
I think we
ETH.
talked ArtDAO.eth. These are the top 10. 196. I'm just glad we got Bankless.eth when we got it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think we
in
paid
hindsight,
like,
the $2,000 we spent on Bankless.eth was an absolute steal.
somebody would have squatted that and tried to sell it for, what do you think?
Yeah.
200,000, 300,000?
Yeah, it's a stupid number. Yeah.
Somewhere between Paradigm and Porno, I bet they would have tried to charge us. Because it's a good brand. Speaking of good brands, Moonbirds, the DAO launched. So they just launched a DAO. 2.6 million in ETH in the DAO. Also some NFTs. What are your thoughts on this?
It's pretty cool that Kevin Rose and Proof seeded the DAO with this $2.6 million. So hey, you guys have a DAO now. Also, you guys have $2.6 million. Go play with it, I guess?
No, actually. So here's the cool thing. It's not just go play with us. Go play with it and do whatever you want. It's kind of focused. The focus is empowering creatives that are building towards furthering the Moonbirds ecosystem, reputation, and lore. That's a bit more specific. So reputation and lore, right? So I can imagine this DAO specifically doing a function that DAOs do very well, which is like, hey, generate a whole bunch of ideas and spread those ideas. So I actually kind of like some more focused, targeted DAOs because sometimes if you give DAOs a complete blank slate, they don't really know what to do. They're kind of like, oh, a little bit here, a little bit here. Sometimes they're walking around like a zombie without a brain, right? And if you give it a focus and you say, here's some money, here's some things the community can do, and it becomes kind of like a grant funding mechanism, I think that could be successful. So I think that's what they might be doing here. Of course, we'd have to talk to Kevin Rose to get all the details, but a nice narrow scope DAO might be a good refresher compared to some of the DAOs we've seen recently.
This is really cool. Here's a tweet thread out of Brian Armstrong saying, big announcement. We've been working with director Greg Koh on a documentary about cryptocurrency and Coinbase over the last 3 years. And it will be coming out this Friday, that's today, if you're listening to this on Friday, on Amazon Prime /iTunes/YouTube. You can watch the trailers. You can watch the trailer in the show notes. I got goosebumps when I watched this.
Really?
This is going to be awesome.
Why? Why'd you get goosebumps?
Just like watching Brian Armstrong like practice a pitch in 2011 about like how to pitch Coinbase. It's like, dude, like
it goes all the way back to 2011, huh?
Yeah, it goes real far back, right?
There's Fred Arison.
And so like there's a lot of really cool people here. David Chom is featured in here. Vitalik's in here. Yeah, it's just like there's Matt Hogan. Yeah, Matt from Hogan from Bitwise, right? I think it's going to be great, and this is, I think, it's going to be very useful to help explain crypto to the outside world. Movies, documentaries.
Yeah.
There's like two other Ethereum movies. Like there's the Infinite Garden and Cami Russo's documentary. That's also going to come out, and I think this is going to be a great way to onboard people to crypto. And like, here's the story of like these people that have been grinding this out for years.
Do you know the guy who's making this, Greg Coase? He also made a documentary I really love. Came out like 4 or 5 years ago called AlphaGo, and this is about DeepMind, which is an AI that I believe Google created to beat the Go champion of the world, right? So you know, this links into maybe your story at the end.
Yes,
someone special that you met.
Do not spoil that story.
I will not spoil it. Okay, but
story.
The first AI beat a chess player in what year was that? 1999, 2000, something like this.
That was God, I don't know, when was that?
Okay,
actually?
around that.
I should know this.
But before that, it was thought inconceivable, like a difficult problem for an AI to actually beat a human chess player. And then an order of magnitude more complexity is actually the game Go, which is a strategic game that's very popular in the East, less so in the West, but it's kind of like the chess of the East, right? Very popular in places like Korea. And this chronicled this effort of DeepMind and AI to take on the world's best Go champions. And I guess I could spoil it because it's like 5 years after, but like the AI wins in the end. Yeah. And it's this whole battle. Yes. Maybe that's
not
the
entire
yeah, maybe that's the entire era that we're living in. The AI wins in the end. Okay. And so it beats the humans, and yeah, it's a really cool story because there's some drama. It's very hard for the World AlphaGo players to kind of like come to grips with this. Anyway, great documentary, going into a complicated subject, and actually like helped me understand neural network AI type systems, and also Go, which I had no previous understanding or knowledge of, through documentary format. So it helped mainstream that to me. Maybe we could do the same with crypto.
Yeah, that was a great way to full circle this. Is like, complicated story. We have a great storyteller. They're going to tell the Coinbase story very well. So excited for this. I'm going to watch this perhaps on my flight to Bogota.
Are you?
Yeah. In other NFT news, 3 Arrows, CryptoPunk, and other Starry Night collections on Ethereum, their NFTs are set to be liquidated. So the Starry Night Fund, which was, of course, 3 Arrows Capital's NFT fund, is in the hands of a liquidator, Tenio. Apparently.
That has the goose in it, doesn't it?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, so art blocks, CryptoPunks, like all this stuff getting liquidated.
Man,
so
that was top of the market
if you
stuff.
are an NFT collector with cash on hand, you might be able to score a pretty cool NFT.
3 Arrows Capital starting Starry Nights at the top of the bull market.
That was like the top. That was they funded that fund at the very top.
At the very top. Solana went down. Again, last weekend. This
one actually made me sad. Yeah.
Solana back online after the latest outage. It was down in September.
Hours.
Sorry, it was down for 18 hours. That was September of 2021. This time, I don't know, it was down.
Looks like 5 hours.
5 hours?
Yeah, 5 hours, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why did it get down? What happened?
Yeah. It looks like there was a validator that signed 2 blocks, which is bad because that's forking the blockchain. And because of this, the remaining validators, I think, couldn't find the chain. They were confused as to which chain was the correct one because there were 2 versions of Solana. And so both of them just didn't progress. And so the Solana blockchain just halted.
I want to ask you. So I want to ask this question of you, right? So this is a question I tweeted out. If a blockchain keeps going down, it is still worth billions of dollars, which Solana definitely is. Do we conclude from this that the market doesn't value blockchain uptime?
Well,
like there was no effect.
Remember when Ethereum Classic kept on getting 51% attacked, and it would pump the price? This was
because
in 2018, 2019. No, because it was in the news.
Attention.
It's all attention.
Well, this was not a price pump. This was just kind of nothing happened. It was just the market shrugged it off. I
think if you're
a
Solana holder, I don't know.
Well, no, Anatoly responded somewhere in the tweets. Anatoly as something to the effect of like, actually, this is a strength because see how fast Solana can actually recover.
What?
Yes, that is a take. Here you go.
What?
The whole point of decentralization is to recover from arbitrary catastrophic failure without loss of state, including bugs in the code. Maybe doing so quickly and reliably is important as well. That was his take. So, and
that's a bold take, Anatoly. I mean, I get the point. Like, you can recover your blockchain, but like, centralized companies can recover databases. That's not the hard part. That's not hard.
It's interesting, right? Because the market doesn't seem to care, David. So, there's all sorts of other explanations, but I'm curious yours. What do you think?
So you put out that tweet like 2 or 3 weeks ago saying like, facts, Solana has had over 2 months of uninterrupted uptime. And that was September 10th. So we're basically 1 month later. So now it was 3 months. They had a 3-month streak. Solana going down during the bull market, I think it's not really excusable, but it's more excusable when there's high activity. But Solana going down in the bear market, like they need to get this number of days without incident high. They need to not be going down because you need to be dependable of a blockchain. If you're going to have the future of finance on your ecosystem, you need to not go down and you need to prove to the world that you're not going to go down. So during times of depressed activity and you're still going down, you are burning that chance of growing the Lindy effect of saying that Solana is not going to go down.
Does it matter? If there's a social recovery, if a bunch of validators just meet in a Discord and reboot the network.
That doesn't matter. It matters to the current set of users. We're talking about we need to onboard the rest of users, and the rest of the world hopefully will care if their financial system goes down.
I'm coming to the conclusion that Solana is kind of playing a different game than Ethereum.
Oh, it's always been.
And I think that maybe that's always been, and maybe that's why sometimes the communities talk past each other.
Yeah.
Because if you're like core Bitcoin, Ethereum values. You're like, your chain can't go down. It's a layer freaking one. It's like a property rights system for the entire world. You can't go down. If it goes down, it's dead. But I don't think Solana is competing there. I think it's competing against other almost like open fintech type of applications where sometimes things go down in those worlds. It's like
if your chain goes down, people will not issue valuable assets on your chain as much. And I don't see how Solana can say that they don't want that and that's a optimized KPI is how many valuable assets are being issued on Solana. And if the more Solana goes down, the less comfortable people are going to feel.
So you're saying it makes them less scalable, like socially, because they're less dependable, and dependability is scalability and all of these things. Yeah. It's to be determined. But good luck to the Solana community as you guys continue, as Solana continues to iron out those bugs. Also, stuff happening in the crypto community in Africa. This was a really cool report put out by Chain Analysis. Chain Analysis, I should say. What is this saying?
Yeah, so some tidbits from this report saying this report shows strong crypto usage and adoption rates in the region of sub-Saharan Africa. With highly educated young people and low job prospects, crypto is a, quote, way to feed their family, says Convexity Fandler Adidijai Owanibi. Oof, I'm sorry about that. Small retail payments in sub-Saharan Africa are powering exponential crypto adoption and usage, with the region conducting the world's highest proportion, 80% of crypto retail payments less than $1,000, according to the Chain Analysis report. This report also highlights how peer-to-peer transactions are more common in sub-Saharan Africa than anywhere else in the world. At about 6% of all crypto transaction volume, Africa's peer-to-peer transactions dwarf those of Central and Southern Asia, the region with the second highest volumes in that category. And the report continues and says, many Africans have integrated crypto into everyday life. Besides, retail transactions, remittances, and commercial transactions have also been key drivers for Africa's high adoption and usage rates. Did not expect to see a report like this, but that's really good news. This is just the fundamental adoption of crypto that's not speculative, that's not shenanigans, it's not like NFTs, like going with JPEGs. This is like real utility being leveraged by sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah, I think this is really cool to see in places in Africa. It's peer-to-peer, small transactions, improving people's lives. It's underreported as well because it's not kind of a big news event happening in the West. Right. And honestly, David, I want to dedicate some cycles to explore the cryptocurrency community in Africa. I've not talked much to that community. I know there's a Bankless Africa chapter. There's a
Bankless chapter down there.
That's rocking it and doing some things. So maybe there's some opportunity to get an update from them. David, speaking of updates, a negative update from Alex, the arrested Tornado Cash developer. He is staying in jail after his appeal was rejected. This is from The Block. David, refresh people, who is Alex Pertsev, and what was this appeal about?
Alex Pertsev was the Tornado Cash developer that was arrested in the Netherlands and has been waiting to hear why he's been arrested. And so I believe he appealed to be either released or just to, hey, can I hear why I'm arrested? And that appeal was rejected.
Not only that, David, this story goes on. It was not only rejected and he has to stay in jail. They're actually auctioning off his car, starting to take his property.
What?
Yeah. This is from the article, Property Seizure and Auction. At the moment, they've only taken a car. This is his wife talking, but I think they can come and take something else at any moment. I don't feel safe. Prosecutors will sell all of our legal property at auction, leaving me with nothing.
Yo, what the hell?
Arrest the guy for creating...
Dude, this is the Netherlands.
You're not charging him with anything. You're leaving him in jail. No charges. Absolutely no charges. For all we know, the only thing he did was create an open source smart contract code on Ethereum that was used without his permission by some nefarious actors, but completely without his permission. Now he's in jail, doesn't know why, they won't tell him, and they're auctioning off his freaking property. Stealing his property. Let's call it stealing, because that's what it is. The government does it, they call it seizure, but it's stealing. What is happening here? I don't get it. Right?
What do you even do about this?
I don't know. I mean, we're not in the Netherlands. We've tweeted about it before. We've talked about it before. There are locations we've directed people to donate to the cause as legal defense. There was Gitcoin grants that were raised. Continuing to talk about it, continuing to keep it in the news cycle, I think is really important. Continuing to tweet about it is really important. I don't know. This is the Netherlands. This is like the quote unquote, like a Western liberal democracy.
That's insane. It's infuriating.
It's infuriating. So our thoughts with Alex will continue keeping you guys updated about this.
In happier announcements, Ryan, you know Google's 10% time? Have you heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah. So like on Fridays, like if you work at Google, you can go work on something that you're passionate
It's like
about.
10%. Is it 20% or something?
Or 20%.
Okay, I think it's 20%.
Yeah.
Yes.
So policy at Google, on Fridays, you could go do something that you want to do.
Sounds
just
good.
like intrinsic work. Just pick something.
Okay.
So Consensys is doing something very similar with their employees, saying, hey, on Fridays or like, I don't know, 20% of your time, go work for a DAO. So there's a partnership between Consensys and BanklessDAO to develop what they are calling the first ever DAO-lationship, where Consensys employees and BanklessDAO are going to work together to build out BanklessDAO. So that is pretty damn cool, I'd say.
That is awesome. Big move by BanklessDAO to get that set up. Funny. We had absolutely nothing to do with this.
I had no idea.
It just happens in the background. And I think BanklessDAO is doing great work and excited about the new energy that Consensys is bringing there and the first DAO-lationship. So use that 20% time well, Consensys. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're also using their development time well because this is a new portfolio viewer from MetaMask, the makers of MetaMask. So you can now click a link and like Zerion or Zapper style, start to see what is in your portfolio. Really cool release, really cool app. This is a bank.eth portfolio. See some bank tokens in there, among other things. And really cool to see.
Another release coming out of Aztec. They said they are thrilled to announce Euler Finance as the first yield protocol supporting Aztec's 4626 bridge. I will explain what that is. First, Euler is a money market like Compound or Aave that provides yield to assets. And Aztec is a private layer 2, privacy layer 2. And so you can now use and get access to Euler's yield privately on Aztec's private layer 2. But they also have this 4626 bridge, that's an EIP number or an ERC number. Basically, it's their yield bridge. And so prior to EIP 4626, every single integration between Aztec and Compound, Aztec and Aave, Aztec and Euler was like a one-off bridge, a unique bridge. 4626 is what they're calling one bridge to rule them all. And so a yield bridge between Aztec and money markets throughout DeFi. So any place that you can get yield, anything that's a tokenized vault, you can bridge right into Aztec. So DeFi and yield becoming a little bit more private these days. Neat.
Private yield sounds really cool. I hope they don't get OFAC'd.
Yes.
In the coming weeks and coming months.
Well, if they do, we're investors, Ryan. So we're relevant here.
That's right. I should mention that as well. Let's get to raises now. Uniswap Labs, they look to be raising about $200 million in a new round of funding. This is a report from TechCrunch, not completely confirmed, but this deal would give Uniswap Labs, the lab side, not the token, the lab side, kind of the equity side, a $1 billion valuation. So we'll have to see how that emerges. We got more raises. Defiance Capital, what are they up to, David?
Yeah, Arthur Chong's Defiance Capital, which was originally spun out from Three Arrows Capital, and so I think Defiance took a gut punch when Three Arrows Capital went down.
Reputationally, at least.
But also they had to, I think, liquidate some of Defiance's assets because it was owned by Three Arrows Capital.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah, but Arthur is bringing Defiance back, raising $100 million to invest in liquid tokens. So can Arthur bring Defiance back from the dead? Looks like he's doing it. So congrats to him.
He's trying.
And the last raise of the week, Horizon is thrilled to announce that they've raised $48 million in a Series A to make Web3 easy. Horizon and their wallet Sequence is a platform for both having an awesome wallet that's very easy to use, that is integrated into Web3 games and Web3 things. It's also a builder platform. So they also have this integration with Skyweaver, Nifty Swap, a few other things. So congratulations on the raise to Horizon. Also, they are a Bankless sponsor for Q4. So that is the disclaimer there.
Their smart contract wallet looks pretty badass, man.
Yes,
I love the UX of this.
Yeah.
David, we should get to jobs.
Jobs.
I'm sure with all these raises, companies are hiring in the jobs market this week. let's run through it. I guess maybe Uniswap is raising, but we know they're hiring for sure because number one, we got a developer relations lead at Uniswap Labs, senior front-end engineer at Uniswap Labs, a senior back-end engineer for the trading platform at Uniswap Labs.
That's a lot of jobs.
That's a lot of jobs already. Solid World DAO is hiring a senior Web3 developer. Rubicon, a smart contract engineer. Bankless needs a social lord molecule, a head of engineering. Bankless, a growth marketer. Economia needs a lead designer. Rabbit Hole, a tech lead. I could go on, but I don't have to because these jobs will be in your inbox. If you go to bankless.pallet.com and you enter your email address, they will be shipped to you directly. You also hear about them on the Bankless Weekly Rollup, but don't wait. Get alerts from these jobs and check out the Bankless job boards. All right, David, what's coming up next?
Coming up next, questions from the nation. What categories of crypto things are going to come out in the bear market, as well as an EVM compatibility, as well as all the takes from the week? A question from Amin Soleimani. Hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to use Ethereum to wage a war, how would you go about it? So that is a take that's coming up next, right after we talk to some of these fantastic sponsors that make the show possible. If you've been listening to Bankless, you know that we're fans of the modular blockchain thesis. The idea that blockchains will separate execution from data availability and consensus, allowing all three to become the best versions of themselves. And Fuel has built the fastest modular execution layer in the industry. By supporting parallel transaction execution, Fuel unlocks significantly faster throughput for the Web3 world. Fuel also goes beyond the limitations of the EVM with its own Fuel VM, which is more efficient and optimized, opening up the design space for developers. And lastly, Fuel brings a powerful developer experience with its own domain-specific language, Sway, and a supportive toolchain called Fork. With Fuel, you can have the benefits of smart contract languages like Solidity while adopting the improvements made by the Rust tooling ecosystem, letting the Fuel development environment go beyond the limitations of the EVM. If you want to learn more, there's a link in the show notes to see how you can get involved with the Fuel network. NEXO is your financial hub for all your crypto needs. NEXO lets you buy crypto instantly with your credit or debit card or via bank transfer. They also have an awesome advanced trading platform called NEXO Pro that pays you rewards when you swap crypto assets. And NEXO also lets you earn interest on your crypto in Bitcoin, ETH, or other assets. And they also give you an instant crypto line of credit with as low as 0% APR. And they also give you access to a crypto-backed MasterCard, of course, earning you more crypto when you use it. So, enhance your financial life with NEXO, who ensures all credit lines are over-collateralized with insurance on all custodial assets. NEXO, the right place for your crypto. So click the link in the show notes to join over 5 million users who are getting the most out of their crypto.
Questions time. If you have a question for David and I on the Rollup, then make sure you follow Bankless HQ on Twitter. It tweets out what question do you have every Wednesday. And if you reply to that tweet, we may read your question out on the Rollup. This is the first one. I think this question is coming from...
Go sit back, yeah.
This question is coming from Mike Finity. Mike asks, are there any new categories in the Ethereum space that are emerging that some of us may not know about yet? David, secret, hidden categories in the Ethereum space that are emerging that people don't know about. Tell us, drop that alpha, my friend.
Yeah, there's this one category that's being built out, which requires ZK rollups. It has to be on a ZK rollup because of how many transactions it's going to require. But there's a world of physical simulation, like physical space simulation, like gravity, objects, colliding objects, that when an object moves or collides, that's a transaction. Like game physics? Game physics, yes. Game physics on ZK rollups. And so you can, why this is important is you can make a verifiable, provable position of a physical object, like physical, digital, a digital but physical object in the metaverse. And you can make this, you can provide coordinates, you can provide velocity, you can, mass, magnitude, direction. You can, on a provable layer that is a universally shared truth on the internet, create a physically mapped out space, physical space.
I've seen demos of this kind of thing before. I've seen prototypes of this kind of thing before, but it's always seemed so abstract that I can't yet grok it. I can't get it. Right. Other than this link between, as we've always said, what is a blockchain for? Well, it's for securing property in the metaverse. And so you were talking about physical manifestations of property secured by something like Ethereum, but I think it's how does that property manifest?
It's more just objects. We need a single shared source of truth of a bunch of physical space, except it's not physical, it's digital, but it's physically represented digital space. And if we have a single shared source of truth on this thing, it makes that platform incredibly neutral. And so you can imagine like a digitally represented physical space that is being rendered at the periphery because we have this same source of truth as to what objects are where.
Okay, so, but like, what do you do with something like this?
I mean, first you have to build it, and so this is like still very much like under construction. But I think it's a better question as to like what can't you do with it. Yeah, there's a lot out there. This is a topic of in the Zero Knowledge podcast with Anna Rose. She did an episode on this with a bunch of ZK teams. But it's just like a commonly shared source of truth for like games and space.
It feels like, to me, it feels like this is a new primitive that we just don't know what to do yet on the application layer, and we might see it manifest in cool ways. It's definitely emerging, definitely something that probably few people knew about. And did you say, what's the place to find out more? That
Anna Rose's Zero Knowledge podcast. It's an older podcast. Let's see if I can find it and put in the show notes.
Cool. We got another question from a cryptodude.vet. What is the significance of ZK Sync 2.0 getting EVM compatible? Is it that you can port smart contracts over from ETH layer 1 with little or no changes in their code, or is there something more to it?
No, it's largely that. If previously, like for example, Starkware has their Cairo coding language. You can't just take Solidity code and put it on StarkNet. You can put it on ZK Sync because it's EVM compatible. So it's near one-to-one compatibility of all anything that's ever been on an EVM chain. Binance Smart Chain, Optimism, Arbitrum, the Ethereum layer 1, like Avalanche.
95% of all the apps.
Yes, if it's an app that's already built, you can just be put right on ZK Sync out of the box. And so that's why everyone is super bullish on EVM compatibility.
It's a really big deal. All right, David, let's go to Takes of the Weeks. This is from Amin. He's asking the question, hypothetically speaking, if you wanted to use Ethereum to wage a war, how would you go about it? Of course, that came from Amin. If you wanted to use Ethereum to wage a war, I don't know what he's thinking about on October 4th, what he's thinking about on a like casual Tuesday for Amin. But your answer was interesting. You said, start a podcast. What are you talking about?
I actually want to leave that one up to the listener. I'll leave that one hanging there.
Really? That's all you're going to say?
Yeah.
If you wanted to use Ethereum to wage a war, how would you go about doing it? And David says, start a podcast.
We don't call it Bankless Nation for nothing.
Huh. Are we talking metaphorical war? Or are you just going to...
Ethereum, I mean, it's talking a literal war. I've expanded the scope a little bit to be like, yeah, but also like narrative wars and, community alignment, stuff like that.
There you go. All right. Leave it there.
Take from Ryan Sean Adams says, too many of y'all taking VC money in crypto when y'all should be bootstrapping. Look, Hayden Adams built Uniswap in a cave with a $65,000 grant and a box of scraps. Nice reference there. That's the power of crypto. Just because a VC wants to give you $10 million doesn't mean you need it. More building, less raising. Nice.
Bootstrapping, friends. Nice. Bootstrapping. Nice. Like seriously, we don't need tens of millions of dollars to build what we're calling DeFi 2.0. Like we don't need it. And I think too many teams raise too quickly. Some of this is like immaturity, or some of it's like there's a glamour in having a large VC with a brand name write you a check, right? This is the power of Ethereum's, right? One developer, a very small team, weekends, evenings, can crank out some very powerful piece of code. And you need to find out if you have product market fit before you actually know if you need the VC money to scale this thing out.
Right. Yeah.
And I think too many people are skipping that step.
Right.
And it's to their detriment because kind of spin their wheels. I would love to see more bootstrapping and less money right out of the gate. And so that's my encouragement for product teams right now, because even in this bear market, David, it seems like the VC money is still flowing. Like the private deals are getting done. We're seeing massive raises every single week. Sometimes that's right, but like you need the money to scale. You don't need the money to actually prove and get some market validation in crypto. You can do that with a small team, with a box of scraps, as Hayden Adams showed us.
Last take of the week. Here is, I don't know if this is a take, but it was funny. DAStormy1.e says, POV, You're listening to Bankless with Trustless State and Ryan Shot Adams talk about the most famous sports figures in the world, and then it's the gif of Michael Scott just like burying his face in his hands.
Wow, we really
and
screwed up last week, didn't we?
Yeah, it turns out we were talking about Roger Federer and Nadal, like two of the most famous like tennis players. I had no idea.
Brutal.
I had no idea.
That's brutal. We've been outed as
not sports fans.
This is not a sports podcast. All right,
No,
guys. We
not
talk
at all.
crypto. We have we'll talk like geopolitics and we'll talk economics, but apparently not sports. That is not a prerequisite for understanding crypto.
The consistency that I got this take across Twitter, YouTube comments,
friends,
Telegram, Discord,
Yeah.
my friends, like,
You
dude, guys,
idiots,
that was
you
Roger
morons.
Federer. And what's Nadal's full name?
We
I don't even know.
apologize. Don't dig us deeper, David. We apologize to the entire Bankless sports
Tennis
community.
playing community.
Yes, but I will say this in our defense. Okay, learning about sports is an opportunity cost to learning more about crypto.
Yeah, like
I've never been able to justify. I'm like, I could learn more about a sport and watch a game, or I could learn more about crypto.
Right.
And I always choose the other thing.
it feels like one of the trilemma. Like, pay attention to sports, pay attention to crypto.
Yeah.
And like have a podcast, and you get to pick two of those things.
Yes.
And I know which ones I've picked.
All right. Yeah, that's right. Me too, David. I'm with you. But sorry on behalf of the sports
The people that
celebrities
have chosen to not pick a podcast.
it's totally fine to have a sports life outside of crypto. It's totally fine. We support you.
Anyways,
David.
in a different world, I would like to challenge Bankless listeners. All right, I didn't know who Roger Federer is, but do you know who this is? Because this is, Ryan, what I'm bullish on
Okay,
this week.
let me look. So first of all, I see on the right, it's David in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah.
Looking snazzy with that gray vest, buttoned up, nice tie, and with a gentleman to his left. Now, this gentleman has a flag of Ukraine.
Nope.
On
There's a story behind that flag. You're not going to guess what that flag is.
Oh, that's not okay. Yeah, it's very small.
That is the story behind that flag is the Russian flag, but the red of the Russian is removed because they are trying to remove the blood of Putin and what he's doing in Ukraine.
Ooh, that's a big spoiler. That's a hint. It's an older person. So should we give people like a few more seconds to?
Yeah. So I'll keep on giving hints. This is at the Oslo Freedom Forum Gala, and that's my last hint. Actually, that's all I got. There's zero more
It's someone
hints left.
that it's also someone that David highly esteems. Clearly, you can tell from his voice and the big smile on his face. Looking at the camera, it's
Your
like,
boy is stoked in this photo.
very excited. I know who it is.
This is Garry Kasparov, who is the last world's best chess player to be the world's best chess player before he was beat by an AI, Deep Blue, by IBM in 1994. That is a personal hero of mine. Not only is he a fantastic chess player, I don't know if the Bankless Nation knows, but I play a ton of chess. At
Gary's level.
Not at Gary's level. But he is also just a freedom fighter and like very much, I believe, shares a lot of the ethos and values that I do, and I think Bankless does. And he's also a great podcast guest, and hopefully he will one day be coming on the podcast.
That's what this was all about. Is Gary, please come on the podcast. We know you listen to Bankless.
Well, so the story here is that this is this gala, they try and raise money. They sell, like, people put things up for auction. Gary put up a chess game for auction at the gala.
A game of chess with him.
A game of chess with Garry Kasparov.
Yes.
And I bid on that, and I won. And so I get to play a game of chess with Garry Kasparov, and I'm fucking stoked.
David got a utility NFT, which is you could cash in for a game of chess with Garry Kasparov. That's awesome, man.
If I can rotate this into a podcast, however,
live
I totally
stream,
will. Perhaps.
Yeah,
We'll figure this out.
Just
we'll figure this
host
out.
it at your house. Yeah. Just put the camera.
Yeah. I sent in my wire this morning, so it's locked in.
There you go. That's awesome, man. He's a great individual. I've heard him on many podcasts. That gets, by the way, to what I'm bullish about this week, because that's what you were bullish about. Yeah. Just meeting one of your idols, Garry Kasparov. I am bullish on podcasts in general.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yes. So I've been doing some podcast binging. I know some of your favorite podcasts, but I probably don't know all of them, David. But like Lex Friedman, I listen to a lot. Sam Harris, I listen to it a lot. I think podcasts are like the only digital media source that is somehow not yet a slave to the algorithm. And what I mean is, like, podcasts aren't like timeline sorted, right? You have to actively go and subscribe to a podcast. And this makes it a very unique media form. Like all of the RSS feeds are self-sovereign, right? They're not hosted by anyone. You can select whatever podcast player you want. And so much of the time, like all of the media that we see is just arguing. It's like they call it debates, but it's mostly people talking past each other. And like all sorts of, like we're all siloed in these algorithmic information bubbles. And podcasts, to me, at least the ones I listen to, are like a breath of fresh air. Like Lex Friedman will actually have a conversation with somebody. He'll actually listen to the other person, try to understand what they're saying, right? Rather than just freaking like
Optimize
yell.
for the algorithm, yeah.
Yeah, optimize for the algorithm. It's like a deep, rich conversation. And I'm just glad that we've preserved this, because I feel like in this hollow world, going back to what Ben Hunt was talking about, there's just all this hollow media out there, and podcasts have not yet succumbed to that. So I was just appreciative, and I'm bullish of podcasts themselves. You said earlier in the episode, if you want to start a war, start a podcast. If you want to start a movement, maybe that's another way, a revolution, start a podcast.
Yeah. And you know why this works so well, and then how this is related is RSS feeds are a decentralized technology.
They totally are, dude.
It's like TCP/IP, SMS, and RSS.
Yeah. So anyway, bullish on podcasts in general. This is why we love this forum. I mean, we put our stuff out on YouTube. YouTube's important. We're doing channels for it, but like we will always have a podcast. Like it's just a pure.
Can't stop us.
It's a fantastic. You can't stop us. It's a fantastic form of communication. And David, you taught me that because you got me into podcasting, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It took me like 4 times,
You told
4
me I'd get
messages
addicted.
to convince you to do a podcast. And as soon as that ball was rolling, it was off the races.
I've long been a consumer, right? I didn't know that anyone would actually tune in and listen to us talk about crypto like every week. But this is, I guess, also a question to the Bankless Nation is, what podcasts do you guys like? What do you recommend? Who should we listen to as well? I want
Leave a comment. Drop a comment in the comment section.
Yes, leave a comment in the comment section. All right, meme of the week time. You ready for this?
Let's do it. Meme of the week. We actually got 2 memes of the week this week.
Oh, lucky.
So this one is titled "This Time is Different," and this is the weak Doge versus very strong buff Doge meme. So you got the weak Doge in 2008 saying, "Oof, 2008 we made some bad loans," and then 2022 we have ripped very strong Doge, and that caption is, "The global economy is a gigantic Ponzi scheme."
Yeah, things seem worse this time around. Is this what this is implying?
Yeah. It's like, oh, 2008, that's cute. The entire global economy is a Ponzi.
Different order of magnitude we're dealing with in these 2020s.
And I thought this one was a nice continuation. So this is a cartoon illustration of what is a Wall Street banker with a suit and tie standing on top of a pile of money, pointing down at a lady holding a Bitcoin sign. And this banker is saying, "Your Ponzi scheme is killing the environment." And I thought that was just a nice way to round this meme of the week off.
Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of preference in terms of which Ponzi do you prefer, because it's all Ponzi's all the way down. That's what it seems like, David.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the time to remind folks, after we just talked about Ponzi, that crypto is risky. All right. You can lose what you put in. So is Bitcoin. So is ETH. So is DeFi. This is definitely not for the faint of heart. It's not for everyone. But we're glad you're with us on the Bankless journey. Thanks a lot.
Hey, we hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, head over to Bankless HQ right now to develop your crypto investing skills and learn how to free yourself from banks and gain your financial independence. We recommend joining our daily newsletter, podcast, and community as a Bankless Premium subscriber to get the most out of your Bankless experience. You'll get access to our market analysis, our alpha leaks, and exclusive content, and even the Bankless token for airdrops, raffles, and unlocks. If you're interested in crypto, the Bankless community is where you want to be. Click the link in the description to become a Bankless Premium subscriber today. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for in-depth interviews with industry leaders, Ask Me Anythings, and weekly roll-ups where we summarize the week in crypto and other fantastic content. Thanks everyone for watching and being on the journey as we build out the Bankless Nation.